The wrong target the research station DR. Elena Vasquez knelt beside the crystalline formations in the research bay of Nexus Prime, her scanner humming softly as it analyzed the alien minerals. The massive trading station buzzed with activity from dozens of species, but Elena found peace in her work. As a xenobiologist, she had spent years studying the unique properties of Kalari crystals, hoping to unlock their medical applications. The molecular structure is fascinating, she said to Zeftai, the lead Kalari researcher. His butterfly-like wings shimmered with approval as he watched her gentle handling of their most precious specimens. The Kalari were known throughout the galaxy for their delicate beauty and advanced healing knowledge. Your species shows such respect for our gifts, Zeftai replied, his voice like wind chimes. Few others understand the patience required for proper crystal cultivation. Elena smiled, adjusting her research equipment. She had spent months building trust with the Kalari delegation, knowing their healing crystals could revolutionize medical treatment across the galaxy. The breakthrough was so close she could feel it. The unwelcome visitor, the peaceful moment shattered as heavy footsteps echoed through the research bay. Elena looked up to see a massive figure blocking the doorway. Thakmor stood nearly 8 feet tall, his gray skin covered in ritual scars that marked him as a high-ranking Cronan warrior. His species was known throughout the galaxy for their aggressive nature and their belief that might made right. What is this weakness? Thakmor rumbled, his voice like grinding stone. His forearms gestured dismissively at the delicate research setup, humans playing with pretty rocks while Rayal species conduct real business. Zeftai's wings fluttered nervously as he backed away. The Kalari were peaceful by nature, evolved to avoid conflict through generations of harmony with their environment. Elena remained calm, though her heart rate increased. We're conducting legitimate research, Elena said, standing slowly. The Kalari have generously agreed to share their knowledge for the benefit of all species. Thakmor's laugh was harsh and mocking. Benefit? You mean profit. Your kind always hides greed behind pretty words about peace and cooperation. The confrontation Elena felt the familiar weight of diplomacy on her shoulders. She had dealt with aggressive species before, but something about Thakmor's presence felt different, more dangerous. His reputation as a clan enforcer preceded him, and his species viewed human pacifism as a sign of exploitable weakness. The Cronan collective has shown little interest in medical research, Elena replied carefully. Perhaps we could discuss how this technology might benefit your people as well. We don't need your weak human medicine, Thakmor snarled, stepping closer. My people solve problems with strength, not hiding behind crystals and experiments. The research bay had gone silent. Other species working nearby began to back away, sensing the brewing violence. Elena noticed Zeftai trembling behind his protective barrier, his species' instinct screaming danger. There's no conflict here, Elena said, her voice steady despite the growing threat. We're simply sharing knowledge. The galaxy is big enough for different approaches to solving problems. Thakmor's scarred face twisted with contempt. Different approaches? You humans are all the same. Weak, soft, hiding behind words when real species take action. The strike without warning, Thakmor's primary arm shot forward in a devastating backhand strike. The blow was calculated to humiliate rather than kill, designed to send Elena flying across the research bay as a demonstration of Cronan superiority. Elena saw the strike coming but had no time to dodge. The impact sent her spinning into the wall, her research equipment scattering across the floor. The Kalari crystals, so carefully arranged, shattered against the metal flooring. This is what happens when weak species pretend to be important, Thakmor announced to the watching crowd. Humans think they can play in the galaxy's real business, but they break just like their pretty toys. Elena struggled to her feet, blood trickling from her split lip. But instead of the broken spirit Thakmor expected, her eyes blazed with defiance. You just made a very serious mistake, she said quietly. The arrival, yes, came a voice from the doorway, cold as vacuum. He did. Captain James Vasquez stepped into the research bay, his military bearing unmistakable even in civilian clothes. Where Elena was average height, for a human, James was built like a soldier, his movements precise and economical. His dark eyes took in the scene instantly. His wife injured, the alien standing over her, the scattered research Thakmore turned, initially dismissive. Another weak human comes to. He stopped mid-sentence as recognition dawned. The galaxy knew about human military capabilities. They knew about the species that had fought its way to the stars through countless wars, that treated impossible odds as personal challenges. "You struck my wife," James said, his voice carrying the kind of quiet authority that came from years of command. "You destroyed her research. You threatened peaceful beings under diplomatic protection." The watching crowd began to back away further. Even the Kalari, despite their fear, seemed to sense that something significant was about to happen. The reckoning Thakmore's forearms spread wide, his warrior training kicking in. "You think one human frightens me? I am Thakmore of the Blade Clan. I have killed dozens of your kind in the frontier wars." "I'm sure you have," James replied, beginning to circle the alien, "but you've made one crucial error in judgment." "What error?" Thakmore demanded, his confidence wavering as he noticed the human's predatory movement. "You assumed my wife was helpless," James said. "Elena has 3 degrees in xenobiology, speaks 17 languages, and has negotiated peace treaties with species you've never heard of. She's one of the most dangerous minds in the galaxy." The alien laughed uncertainly. "Mind tricks won't save you, human." "No," James agreed. "But you made a second error. You assumed I was like her." The lesson what happened next became legend throughout the trading station. James moved with the fluid precision of a predator, his years of military training evident in every step. Thakmore's forearms gave him reach and strength. But James had something the alien didn't understand: the focused rage of a human protecting his family. The fight was brief and decisive. James used the alien's size against him, turning Thakmore's strength into momentum that sent him crashing through the research bay's equipment. When the warrior tried to rise, James was already there, his hand on the alien's throat. "My wife offered you knowledge," James said, his voice deadly quiet. "She offered you cooperation. She offered you peace. You chose violence." Thakmore gurgled, something that might have been surrender. Around them, the watching crowd had gone completely silent. The lesson was clear. Humans might prefer peace, but they were very, very good at war. The Aftermath Station security arrived to find Thakmore unconscious and James helping Elena to her feet. The Kalari researcher, Zeftai, was already gathering the few unbroken crystals, his wings shimmering with what humans had learned to recognize as approval. "Will this affect our research partnership?" Elena asked, dabbing at her split lip. "On the contrary," Zeftai replied, his musical voice carrying new respect. "My people have always valued those who protect knowledge and those who seek it. We find both qualities in your species." Elena smiled, leaning against her husband. "What about you? I thought you were supposed to be in meetings all afternoon." James shrugged, his arm tightening around her waist. "I had a feeling you might need backup. Call it human intuition." The message within hours, the story had spread throughout Nexus Prime and beyond. The Cronin Collective issued a formal apology, and Thakmore was recalled to face discipline from his clan leaders. But the real message traveled faster than any official communication. Humans, the galaxy was reminded, were perfectly pleasant neighbors. They were brilliant researchers, skilled diplomats, and generous partners. They would share their knowledge, offer their friendship, and work tirelessly for peace, but they were also the species that had survived ice ages, asteroid impacts, and global wars. They were the beings who had looked at the hostile void of space and decided to make it home. They were creatures of incredible gentleness and unthinkable violence, often existing in the same individual. The galaxy had learned, once again, that there were few things more dangerous than threatening someone a human loved, And in the research bay of Nexus Prime, as Elena and James worked together to salvage their scattered experiments, that lesson was driven home with crystal clarity. Love and protection, it seemed, were the most human traits of all.